What's happening? We back with another episode of Family Come First TV, and we got a special guest on the channel today, J.Blasé. What up, man?
How you feeling, bro?
I'm doing good. So first off, I want to ask you, mentally, how you doing?
Man, I've been good, bro. You know, this year's been kind of weird with COVID and everything, and just like not knowing my job, being an entrepreneur, kind of what the next process was. But everything's on the up and up now. You know, world's kind of getting somewhat back to normal. So I've been good, bro. I just kind of always thinking. I kind of try to treat my life like thinking quarterly. Mm-hmm. So my life's gotten to the point now. I've been feeling pretty good, like the state I'm in right now. So.
Okay, that's good. Now, this is your first time on the channel, so I do want to start from the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, where are you from?
Born and raised in Minneapolis, Minnesota, right on the south side.
And how was it growing up?
Good, bro. I'm an only child, a single parent. My mom raised me. I've always kind of considered myself like an introverted person. I'm kind of low key. I'm always the person that people know, but didn't really know where they knew me from.
Yeah.
Shit. So yeah, it's been good. It's kind of weird, but now I think people have gotten to know me a little bit better through the different things I've done. You obviously know my past. Yeah. People kind of met me over the years, and hopefully I'll leave people a good impression. So.
So now you just stated that your mom was a single parent. Now, how did you think that affected you growing up?
Good. I think it was interesting. I think I always wanted like the perfect household type shit. But I think my mom did really well with it, and I think she's the reason why I kind of found my love for music. Mm-hmm. She's the one who's always kind of embraced me to kind of go after whatever you want to do, and she kind of just said like, what's going to happen if you lose? If you lose, you're right back where you started. So that's kind of where my mentality of like my work ethic came from. Mm-hmm. My mom's always worked multiple jobs. She's always made sure, but she always led by example. So I saw her get after it, which made me go after it. So
okay, and you also stated that you were the only child. Now, I'm the oldest of 5 siblings, so I can't even imagine being the only one in the household. So how was that?
All my homies, I'm the only one who's the only child. So I'm going to debunk the theory, bro. I'm not like a bougie only child person. I'm not snobby. But I think that has kind of helped me be more creative. I think I always was the one kind of playing with my toys with myself, as sad as that sounds. But I think that's where like my mind learned to kind of come with the creativity of things I've done. Okay. So I think that's kind of where it started. If that answers the question.
No, yes it does. Now, I want to get into what you're doing now as a businessman. Now, you go by the name J.Blasé. Why that name, and what does it mean?
It's kind of a funny story. So D.A., everyone knows D.A. or Timmy Price. He came up with my name Blasé before I even started DJing. He just started calling me that. So prior to that, I went by Mr. Shoelace because I used to collect shoes. And he just started calling me Blasé. I don't know why. He just started calling me that. I still to this day don't know, so you have to ask him. So I made that my Instagram name. I put a J on it for Jordan, which is my first name. A lot of people don't know that. For Jordan, and then everyone started calling me Blasé when they saw me around. So it stuck.
So did you ever look up the meaning of it, or was it just like I just stuck? I'm just gonna run with it.
It's like a black term, like Blasé blah. Like everyone says that, like, oh, me and Blasé blah, we're doing this or whatever. So like it just kind of stuck. Yeah. So I feel like the black community really stuck with it because it just like was familiar to them. But, so then I was like, I'm Barack with it. I went with it, and that's why I instantly made that my DJ name because I was just like, my Instagram name's already that. So instead of changing it, I just did the J on it. Instead of having DJ in front of my name, I just did J and then Blasé.
Okay. Now, when did your interest in music start? I remember you said that you brought up that your mom was a big inspiration to that.
Yeah,
a little more detail.
I think one of my first love for music started was my mom driving me to school every day. So me sitting in the back seat, my mom was always playing R&B. So that was kind of like how I started my morning. So Escape, Aaliyah, all them like classical R&B artists was like more my love for music started. And then, you know, every kid had that situation where they got like their first like explicit CD. Yeah. My first CD was Jaquan Hood Hop. And then my mom approved for me to get it. And then I was always listening to like explicit music through her. And then I just always loved music since then. But I've always loved R&B. I love R&B more than any genre.
Okay, I was just going to ask that question. So you're more of the R&B side than the hip-hop rapping side?
Yeah, like it's funny because when I DJ, like trap shit's cool. Like, I have no problem with it. And like there's a moment for it. But R&B, I feel like there's always a perfect vibe. Yeah. No matter the situation. Which is why I always like end all my sets with R&B at the end of the night. So do you think that the sets being ended
do you see like the crowd wanting more, like compared to their hip hop, like the rap?
I think because like you don't get to go out and hear R&B. You know, like our parents like grew up on R&B and grew up on like that real love making music and stuff like that. We hear like a lot of trapping, and it's like trap is cool, but half the people listening to it don't know what that life really is like.
Yeah.
So it's like they're being like a fake facade to it. So I always like when I start my set at the end of the night when I play R&B, I always tell people like this is what separates the boys from the men. Like, let's see if you came out here to get a girl. Let's see if you can talk to a girl on some slow music.
Oh, you talking your shit now?
Set that vibe. Like that's why I always go into it. Because I'm like, at the end of the day, most males go out to try to talk to girls.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you're not gonna get no girls sweating, listening to Gunna and NLE Choppa and all that. They might be cool, you flexing the bottle, but at the end of the day, how you gonna get in that girl's ear and really talk to her?
That's a fact. That's a fact. Now, before you were DJing, what were you doing?
I've done a lot of things, bro. One thing about me is like I'm never scared to fail, and that's something I got from my mom. Kind of like to go back to that question, but I mean, out of high school, I worked at the mall, worked at Finish Line. I'm named after Michael Jordan. I was born in '92, so Michael Jordan was just kind of like that guy. So I was always had Jordans on. My mom always made sure I had Jordans on. And when I got older, I just kept buying shoes. So I knew in high school my mom couldn't afford to keep buying me shoes. So I got a job at the Mall of America at Finish Line. So that's where my love for shoes really came from. I was spending all my checks on shoes, every check. My check was like $300 every 2 weeks. But I was still like, okay, I'm going to get the new retros, I'm going to get the new 13s, I'm going to do whatever. So then I started doing shoe reviews. So a lot of people know me from Mr. Shoelace. Like, I know you, I met you back in the day. I was Mr. Shoelace. So I did a YouTube channel for that. And then that wasn't really working. I didn't really see how I was going to make more money from it.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm always thinking longevity. So I'm like, this is cool. Like, I'm getting a little play money from it, but how can I really pay my bills and set my family up for success? So I quit that, ended up selling cars, hated that. I'm really good with people, so I always get put in these sales jobs, but I hate selling people stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I love selling the experience. I don't like selling, like, product.
Right.
So then that didn't work. I started working at the bank, so I became a banker. I learned a lot about like finances, which was good, like helped me with my business. But I knew that wasn't like my future, so I quit. I quit that job. I didn't know what I was going to do, so I quit. I told my mom, I said, give me 12 months with no rent. And I said, if I don't figure out by the next 12 months, I'm going to go back to a job. Yeah. So I traveled that year. I took all my savings out, closed my IRA, all that stuff. Took my savings out, traveled around. And then December of 2017, I believe, I was in Miami. And I was like at this dope party, and I looked at my homie. I was like, "Bro, I think I could do this." And he was like, "What you mean?" I was like, "I think I could like bring this vibe to Minnesota." And he was like, "How?" I was like, "I think I'm a DJ." So he was like, "Yeah, you could do it." And I was like, "Yeah, whatever." So came back, bought my first DJ equipment, and I didn't tell nobody I was doing it. I was just in the crib practicing, learning on YouTube and everything like that. And then I got my first gig in January something. So I got my first paid gig a year after saying I was going to do something without going back to the job, and gone back since.
So, was it just that Miami experience that had you say, okay, I want to DJ, or was it something you already thought about? Like,
I think it was like subconscious. Like, I've always loved music, and I always love what music does. It always brings people together, especially in the black community. Like, black people always can relate off of music. There's always like a throwback song or somewhere like I think like the perfect black barbecue. You're gonna hear Candy Rain. You're gonna hear Aaliyah, you're gonna hear Ashanti, you're gonna hear Ja Rule, and then you also hear some new stuff, you know. So that's kind of how I was like, I love the vibe this gets, but I never subconsciously was like, I'm gonna do something in music. So then that's kind of what made me apply it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. So what actually made you buy the equipment? I mean, you hear a lot of people say they're going to do something, or they bluff basically.
Yeah.
What made you actually? You know what? I'm purchasing. I'm putting my money behind this. I'm going to try it out.
Yeah, I think my back was just against the wall. Like I was on that 11th month of not working. I didn't know what I was going to do. I was stressed going back to 9 to 5 because I just can't have a boss. Like with my mind set up, I can't have a boss. Like in that partnerships, which is like why I love DJing, because it's like I can partner with these venues and they can agree with my vision and we can kind of partner on that. But as far as someone telling me what to do, like I'm the type of person that's going to be like, I think there's a more efficient way to do this.
Yeah.
Typically in a corporate setting, that doesn't work. They want you to kind of be like a yes man. So, and to kind of answer your question before about like Miami, the thing that made me DJ was like the diversity. In Miami, there was Hispanic people, there was black people, there was white people, and it was all having fun. Yeah. And I was like, this is what life should be. Yeah. Everyone being able to come together and have fun, even if it's only for a couple hours.
Okay. Now we're gonna get back to that specific answer in a little bit, but I want to ask you. So when you bought the equipment, what was that feeling? I'm sure you probably felt like you were unsure. You said your back against the wall. You probably didn't know if it was going to work or not, but was it a feeling of like, I got something, I know I can do something?
Yeah, I mean, the first initial feeling, though, is like, the only way I can describe it was like relearning your ABCs. Like, something that's so essential to you, you're like, crap, I got to start all the way back from the beginning. So, like, that was like my nerves came in. I'm going to do this, but I didn't announce I was doing it in case I don't want to be that bluffing person. I'm the person to be like, wait till 2021, and then like, people will be like, what happened? You know what I mean? Like, I always like handle the things behind the scenes and then get to it. So I was practicing on YouTube, and I was like, the first couple weeks, I was like, I don't think I'm going to be able to do this. Like, I was like, this is going to be a lot harder than I expected.
Yeah.
But then once I got kind of like started clicking, I was like, okay, this is going to be dope. And
so how much time did you actually spend into it before you actually came out and told me
doing it? I think like I got my first show after DJing for like 3 months because I think I bought my DJ equipment, and so I might have lied on that timeline. I got my DJ equipment at the end of December. And then my show, I think, was at the end of February. So it was like close to 3 months. But after I got my first show, I needed a lot of work. Like, I knew I needed more practice. So that just made me work. So I think I wasn't really comfortable with DJing for a full year. So I think I had to, like, really practice the skill set for a year. And then I felt like I could confidently rock a show.
Okay. Now, was it mainly just YouTube things, or were you reaching out to DJs for advice, or how were you getting that advice and that knowledge on what you should do?
So YouTube was the main place I started. I tell everyone I graduated from YouTube University. I'm a college dropout, but YouTube University, I always apply myself with that. But then I had an OG that actually helped me out. So his name's Tim Wilson. He has a record shop in St. Paul.
Okay.
And he's like super OG. He taught me how to like kind of mix records, taught me the basics, and then I was able to kind of like freak that and turn it around.
Now, mixing records. Are DJs still doing that, or is it something that you can take pride in because you wanted to be the one that's like, I'm gonna bring the real DJ?
Yeah, I mean that's like a loaded question. Like basically the reason why I like started DJing was because I seen we were missing a vibe.
Okay,
so I feel like a lot of DJs here, like the thing is with Minnesota, it's such a small community that like people clout up people who might not necessarily like deserve that clout. They didn't put in that work ethic. So a lot of DJs, like I could have got my first show. And people could have been like, oh, bro, you're cold, and I could have never practiced again and just kept that same skill set. But I kept wanting to better myself. So there's a DJ for everything. Like, there's DJs who really like blend records and like enjoy it. And there's some DJs who just kind of like slam the next record. Yeah. And there's kind of love for everybody. So I don't hate on no other DJs, but like I love like a good transition from a DJ. Yeah. Like that's like my favorite thing. A good transition, and you not being able to expect the next song that's gonna come. Like if I can predict what songs you're about to play next, then like I don't want to come out. Yeah, exactly. Now, I'm sure once you get into this lane, you can't just jump in there. You need a manager or something. Right. Correct? Now, what was that process like? Yeah, so when I first started DJing, I went a year without a manager. So all the stuff I learned from like my past as far as like working at the bank and like selling and like all the stuff I learned like with people skills, I just applied that with DJing. So that's how I was like, off of word of mouth, people always kind of like showed love to me. People know I'm a genuine person, so people were always like trying to help me win. They were trying to like throw the hoop for me to succeed. And then about a year, I found a manager. She helped me out a lot. She's no longer my manager. We just kind of had creative differences, which is all good. But manager's hard, bro, because like for someone to manage you, they really have to like know your life personally. They have to know like what your ins and outs are, what your vision is, what you want to do with everything. And that person has to apply everything, which is hard because it's like my manager's getting paid off of me getting shows. So if she's not giving me shows, or he or she's not giving me shows, then she's not making no bread. So that's kind of like the hard part about it. But I loved having a manager because it was good to like get outside of my own mind to hear what people think I should work on and things like that. As far as like when we were actually throwing like events and stuff like that. So it was dope. I mean, right now I like being independent. I like not having a manager, but I still have a solid team of people like Vincent, Homie Juwan, you, everyone. I always like I'm trying to treat like better what I'm doing. Yeah. I never want to be like, oh, it's only me. I made it by myself. Like everything's a group effort. Yeah. Any entrepreneur that says they did it by their own is lying. Like you have to have a solid group of people around you to succeed. Yeah. So is it easier then to do it independent? I think there's pros and cons. Like it's like I don't have to. I can go right away. I don't have to check with anybody. I don't have to be like, hey, I'm about to do this. But at the same time, a manager like spending all their day to help you get shows and stuff, like help me. So I could be like practicing that night on my DJ stuff, and she could be helping me get shows, which is dope. So it's kind of like I have to like know when to take off the hat. I'm the DJ and I'm like the business person. So it is what it is.
Yeah. So have you felt that change though from not having a manager?
Yeah, like luckily since I came in the game without a manager, it wasn't like too crazy not having a manager. I was just like, dang, that kind of sucked because I really like having like the creative circles of us like working together on stuff. But you know, like I said, you gotta adjust with life. You gotta just keep going.
Now, what was the first venue or event that you played at?
Yeah, we're here right now, bro. Basement Bar. This is my first ever live show. Shout out to Nika So Dope. She was DJing here every second Friday of the month. And she was like, hey, my set's 4 hours. It's too long. You want to split it? We'll do 2 hours each. Because at that time I was doing SoundCloud mixes. So to like kind of see if people was going to rock with me DJing, I just started putting out SoundCloud mixes. And people were kind of curious, like, are you DJing this? How are you doing this? And the traction kind of started working. So my first mixes were R&B mixes, which got girls to start reposting. And niggas is like, who is this dude? I've never seen him. He doesn't have any shows. So she reached out to me. She's like, hey, I see what you're doing. You should come DJ here. And I was super nervous. I was like, this is going to be awkward. I was like, I ain't never been in front of this many people because this venue, y'all can't see it. But it fits, I don't know, like probably like 500 people. So 500 people in a skill set you're not confident in. It's crazy. So I pulled up here. There was a line to the sidewalk. And no one knows who I am. I'm like, this is going to be weird. Like, I ain't never done this. Hopefully I don't mess up the sound or whatever. But as soon as I got that immediate rush of a crowd liking the first song I played, I was like, okay, I can keep doing this. And like, my first set was not perfect by any means. Like, it needed a lot of work, but I could see the potential in it early.
Okay, now going back to the SoundCloud, you said tapes you were making or SoundCloud?
Yeah, SoundCloud mixes. So it's like making like hour mixes on there.
Okay, now, if you talk to a DJ from back in the day or something, they said they used to be outside selling their DJ. Yeah, you know, is that the same thing, equivalent?
Yeah, I mean, social media, that's like the hard thing, like with the OGs. That's kind of like where me and the OGs see each other a little different. They're like, oh, back in my day, we had to really like hit people's hands with the tapes and stuff. And now it's like, with social media, it's hard because like you get a lot of fake love. A lot of people will like your post, but not click the video. Or, like not repost it. And it's like, I don't expect anyone to do anything. Like everyone's doing what they want. But it's really hard because you have to find a way to capture people's attention in a quick amount of time. And luckily, after doing that and making a couple mixes, people started seeing the potential in it. So I was like, okay, cool. And once I started getting live shows, then it's like now my brand has got to the point where it's like the stamp of like anything Blasé's name is on is like a certification. Like, okay, this is gonna be dope. Like you got to earn that respect from people. That's kind of how it was with the tapes of the OGs. It's like, if you have a trash tape, they're going to throw it out. But if you win them over, it's like that tape's going to start rotating. We're going to start biting it. So that's kind of like the same thing, it's just a little different.
So is this a common thing for DJs nowadays to do the tapes, or is it something? Any tape, I
mean, the physical tapes like is not a thing. Like CDs and tapes are like obsolete. Like, and that's the hard thing about DJs now because like Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, all those places, I can't post any of my stuff on there because I don't make the music. Someone else's song. So if I was DJing your song, I'd have to pay you some bread. I'm using your beat. I'm using your voice. All that stuff. So SoundCloud is an app. There's a couple other streaming services that you can do. With SoundCloud, you can play other people's music for the most part. So that's kind of the hard part because you can't monetize getting paid off of it. Can't get paid off SoundCloud, but it helps build your brand. So people can be like, okay, he's doing consistently dope stuff. And then, so it's like the tape is never going to be a thing again. Like, this new generation, if I hand them a CD, they're like, what am I going to do with this? So like, now I got to win them over a lot quicker. So it's like always thinking creatively on how to like win them over.
So do you think it was easier for DJs back in the day? Knowing that they can, not easier, but...
I wouldn't say that. Like, DJ back in the day, you had to be a super extrovert. Like, if I'm meeting you face to face for the first time, I got to be like, yo, bro, like, I'm the best out here. You got to trust me, and I got to win you over. Now with social media, I can shoot you a DM, and I can still be behind the scenes, and some people might listen to it. But there's just pros and cons with everything. Like, I probably will never relate to the OGs as much, and they probably will never understand our generation, but it's like trying to find that middle. Like, I'm trying to bring that classic feel to the new generation.
Now, going back to the venues, how do you decide what music to play at a particular venue or event? Like, do you know the crowd demographic already,
I
or
think you got to do your research? Like, my thing is like I've never been a person to like. I'm like all my sets are freestyle. I don't like pre-make anything. I'll pre-download music. I don't know what songs I'm gonna play that night, but you got to be able to read the room. Like that's like what my job is people reading. So like me and the crowd, not me in the crowd, excuse me DJing up here and seeing people in the crowd, if they're not reacting how I want them to, I got to think of what's the next vibe to do. So like a black barbecue is gonna be a lot different than a white wedding. A white wedding is gonna be a lot different than a bar mitzvah. A bar mitzvah is gonna be a lot different than a kid's summer camp. Summer camp is gonna be a lot different than a 21 plus club. So it's like you got to have a Rolodex of music to play so you can never get stumped, because it's really like the crowd's trying to stump you subconsciously. They're like they want you to kind of fuck up a little bit. They're like, okay, like this is cool, but what's he gonna play next? So it's like you got to keep them guessing. And the better I do, the more liquor sales, the more people have fun, more guys get girls' numbers. Like it's all like the DJ controls the whole night. The DJ's the most important person in the nightclub. Like that's just how it is.
So how do you get into those different bags as far as the music you used to play for a black barbecue versus a white wedding? Like for me, example, I listen to black music. I know black music. If you say a name about an artist from the other side, I'm like, who is that? How do you keep that? How do you maintain that?
So like my thing is like it's weird, bro, because like I'm a black mixed kid. So my mom's black, white, Hispanic. I went to an all white middle school. So I learned the white music from them kids. But then my dad's side's all black. So I'm getting the black barbecue vibes. I'm getting the classic music. Then I'm going to this preppy white school where the kids are playing all like, what was it back in the day, like Fergie and like all those like NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, all that stuff. But it really comes from like your genuine love of music. I have to research all the time. I'm always on my computer like trying to find the new vibe, because it's like I have to be the one to set the tone. I can't be late to it. So I think me just having like a melting pot of like how I was raised helps me like know the differences of the two. And then now it's just like I gotta stay consistent with it. I gotta constantly be looking up like, okay, these kids like this song. Why do they like this song? What other vibes would like this song? And stuff like that.
So that was gonna be my next question. How much time do you think you spend on finding that new vibe? As far as new music or the new sound or anything, like how much time you spend on it? And what sites do you use? Like
so initially when I first started out, it took a lot more time because I started out with pretty much like an empty computer. My computer really only had like the DAT Piff mixtapes from like 2008 to 2011. I wasn't really using my laptop anymore because again, streaming services. So as a DJ, you can't just stream the music. You got to download everything. So I had to go back and download all these songs that are like classic songs. So I have a hard drive that's full. It's 1 terabyte full of music. So I have like 100,000 songs, every different type of vibe. It's a lot of music. So like it's like trying to find a needle in a haystack, pretty much. So when I first started DJing, it was really like learning those musics and then like finding like how to file it, so I can find it easier. And then now it's a lot easier. So now I probably am on a computer like every day for at least an hour or two. But before that, like the first month, I was like constantly just like on my computer looking at new stuff. But then once you kind of find it how you want it, like as far as lay it out, then it's kind of easier.
And just to put it out there, how long have you been DJing now? Just
this year's, I think I'm going on my 3rd year. So like in February, it's gonna be like my 3rd year. Sure.
Now, is it everything that you would hope it would be up to this point? As far as being an entrepreneur and someone working for themselves.
I mean, I think the stuff that I have like the most problem with DJing is stuff I never thought of. Like when I was DJing, when I thought of DJ, I'm like, I'm gonna be up here, nobody's gonna bug me, like I'm gonna be in my own world, like whatever. But it's like the people come, they're gonna talk to you and like all that stuff is stuff I wasn't even thinking of. But as far as me being able to have complete control of my future and like being able to DJ and still playing events and be able to like give back to the youth, like that's my favorite thing, like giving back to young people. Because I'm like, I was a young kid who was like lost in a way. I'm like, I don't think college is really my thing, but I'm smart. But teachers are looking at me like, well, if you're not going to school, you're pretty much just going to be on the streets. And I'm like, well, I don't think that's 100% true. So like DJing, I'm trying to show young people like, look, you can get after it in any way you want. Like if I can make it at 20, I'm about to be 28 in October. If I can make it DJing at this late in my life, kids can do whatever they want. Like you have the internet, you have everything in front of you to be able to do it. So that's like how I try to like lead by example. I'm like, I'm not the stereotypical person you think in the club. I don't drink. I don't be smoking crazy. I don't be doing nothing. Like I'm a quiet. Like I don't need to be popping bottles. So people kind of when they think of DJ, they think of me wearing like sunglasses in the club and like super egotistical. I'm like, bro, I'm doing this because I like to create the vibe and I want to be able to like play in the future. So anything's possible, really.
Now, speaking on giving back to the youth, is there anything else that you've done that could showcase or you can speak about that shows you giving back to the youth, how much you care about the youth?
Yeah, so I work with a program called Young Life, which is a high school program on the north side. It's actually all over, but I work with the north side kids at North Quarters. So yeah, I do that. I DJ there every Monday for the kids. And then this summer we did a summer camp for the kids. So I always like to try to reach out to them and help mentor them. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, last Christmas we did a Christmas giveaway for a bunch of kids. We gave away a bunch of Xboxes, things like that. I got a sponsor.
Okay, I remember that.
Yeah, I don't know if you were there, but yeah. So we did like a holiday giveaway for like the Black community for a lot of young kids. So a bunch of kids on PlayStations, Nintendo Switches, Jordans, Uggs, all that type of stuff. So that's the type of stuff I want to do. Like, if I could just pay my bills and still be able to give back, that's all I care about. I don't need to be flashy.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Now, jumping back into you created something called Blasé and Friends. Mm-hmm. Now, can you elaborate and explain what that is?
Yeah, so Blasé and Friends, the way I came up with Blasé and Friends was, obviously I'm Blasé. I tried to think of, the reason why I started DJing is I want to be able to create the vibe for my friends. My friends, I feel like when we go out, we don't get really catered to. I feel like, especially like in the black clubs, I feel like me as a black man, when I go to the club, security treats me like crap. I pay to get in this club. I spend money on y'all liquor, and I'm just looked at as like a number versus getting great customer service, which is I feel like what should be. So that's why when I went to Miami and those places, they really like want you to have a good time. If you're not having a good time, they're like, okay, how can we make this better? If you're spending your money with us, we want you to be valued. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I'm gonna make Blasé and Friends, which basically means anyone who comes to my show, it's like you get to be a part of our friend group. You get to be part of like the inner circle of how me and my homies kick it when we're around. So I started calling everything Blasé Friends. So I started putting on flyers, and then once I did that, people were like, okay, I want to be down with Blasé Friends. It's kind of how it worked. So once I did that, I started making merch. So I'm like wearing a Blasé Friends shirt right now, and it's just kind of like a stamp of approval. Like you see Blasé Friends on a flyer, you see a shirt, it's like you know that person's official. You know they're certified. You know they want to have a good time. They're not about the BS. It's just like cool.
So you mentioned you sell or you created merch and you sold it. Mm-hmm. How did that do the first time around?
I mean, I think it was okay. I mean, I sold out of everything. I think it wasn't as fast as I thought it was going to be. I think in our, like, with social media, I think we always want instant gratification. We're always like, okay, this has got to sell out right now. It's got to be that first 5 minutes or else I didn't do well. So I think when I first did it, I was like, oh, like, this wasn't what I expected. Because you get a lot of people like, oh, I'm going to cop a shirt, and they don't cop one. Or like, whatever. And I'm like, again, nobody owes me anything. So I don't really expect much. But I was like, okay, how can I better it? You know what I mean? So I'm like, how can I keep growing the thing? But I don't really care to profit off of merch. If I just make my money back, it's really just so people can feel involved. I want everything to be like included. Everyone wants to be included. That's really
the Blasé and Friend mentality, huh?
Yeah, literally.
So when did you first drop the first set of merch that you did?
It was a year ago in September. No, a year ago in August. Like August 20th, I think. Okay. So I did like 3 T-shirts. This gray shirt, black shirt, and a tan shirt. And I just did T-shirts to kind of just catch the vibe, see what people were liking. People liked it, but then I waited. I haven't dropped merch since. It's been so busy, and that's kind of like what comes back to not having a manager and stuff. I'm the one who has to do everything. So I'm the one who has to help design the merch. So shout out to my homie Ransel. He designs all my flyers and merch and stuff. But I have to literally get on a call with him or FaceTime him to like go through everything. So every week, me and him talk about the next flyer to be made or like my schedule. And then on top of that, I still got to be doing the DJing. And I got to come here and DJ from 9:30 to 2 a.m. Then I got to still go to the gym. Then I still got to try to like do longevity. So my day is like, the thing with the entrepreneur, a lot of people think it's like easier because you don't have a 9 to 5, but it's like you're constantly on the clock. There's never a punch up. Like you're constantly trying to figure out, okay, how can I get to the bag in a different way? Or how can I like elongate what's going on? Or how can I make my DJ sets better? How can I make more people want to come to my shows? How can I make more money for me DJing? Stuff like that. So that's like the hard part about everything being by yourself. So that's kind of why I haven't done merch a lot, because I'm all about quality. Like, I'm not going to put out anything that's BS. So I've been waiting, but now in October, I'm going to drop some hoodies. So
hoodies? Can you give us a colorway already? Or
it's going to be gray and black. That's all I'll say. There's a dope theme to it, but gray and black.
Okay, bet. Now, what is your overall vision of Blasé and Friends?
Eventually, I would like to own some sort of a venue. I don't know if Blasé and Friends will be on it, but I would like to own some type of venue where people can come hang out. Maybe it's a lounge. Maybe it's some sort of restaurant. Blasé and Friends, I want to be a staple in the city of Minneapolis to know the black community is represented and it can still be a diverse show. I feel like a lot of, like me DJing here, I learned like a lot of white people want to hear hip hop. Just like black people. they're screaming the lyrics harder than us most of the time because we can listen to our car, we can go to the black clubs, we can go wherever we go, we're gonna hear music. White people don't really get that satisfaction, so it's like they're like, oh, this dude is welcoming us. All these black people are super cool, which most black people are. Like, it's just like the stigma that social media that gives like black people are mean or like whatever it may be.
Now, what is your overall vision of Blasé and Friends?
So with Blasé and Friends, eventually I would like to own some sort of venue. I'm not sure exactly what it would be. I don't know if Blasé and Friends' name would be attached to it, but Blasé and Friends, I just want to be a staple in Minneapolis. I want people to know that black people are represented in the city, and it can still be a diverse show. Like me DJing here, I realized white people love hip hop just as much as black people, and I kind of always knew that growing up. But I'm like, me seeing here, I'm like, we get to listen to our music wherever we want. Most of our homies are listening to what we want to listen to. We go to the barbecue, we go to a family event, wherever it may be. We're kind of always around black culture, where it's like white people don't get to really learn it. They only see it from social media. So it's like I love people actually getting to experience it. So it's like they can see all my homies, a bunch of dreadheads wearing, fashionable clothes. It doesn't mean we're dangerous people. It means we just are of the culture. It is what it is. So I see, it makes me happy when I see like white people and black people dapping up into my venue or having a good time, or girls dancing with guys, or whatever it may be. Like, as cheesy as it sounds, I'm like, this is what it should be. Like, our city is a melting pot of all different races, so everyone should be able to be welcome anywhere. And I feel like our city's kind of segregated. I feel like the black clubs are the black clubs, the white clubs are the white clubs, and then bass and bar, it's like everyone comes together because everyone kind of knows like what Blasé and Friends stands for. So that's kind of my goal with Blasé and Friends, to kind of keep elongating that vibe, whatever it may be.
Now, do you have any events you can speak about under the Blasé and Friends name, or even under just your name in general?
Yeah, so with COVID, everything kind of stopped. I had a lot of stuff going on, but the thing I'm most excited about is we're doing a Madden tournament coming up this following Saturday. I don't know if this is going to come out, but we're going to do a lot more video game tournaments here at Basement Bar. Yeah. And then we're also going to do Blasé and Friends Tailgate, which is going to be all the biking games that we watch down here. Okay. So we're going to create like a Sunday fun day aspect, where it's like you can still come and watch football, hear hip hop, hear new music, have some fire drinks, fire food, and just vibe, bro. That's what I really like. I'm not a big clubber, which is crazy because me DJing, everyone thinks like, oh, you must drink and turn up every night. I'm like, bro, I just love music. Yeah. Like, that's just my thing. So it's like I try to incorporate music with everything I do. Yeah.
Now, you spoke on it a little bit, but being an entrepreneur, how did this COVID pandemic affect what you got going on?
Yeah, when COVID first happened, bro, I was like super depressed. Like I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, like, because like my job is like weekly, I'm not getting a salary or anything. So I'm like, when it first happened, like very selfishly, I was like, dang, I'm messed up. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pay my bills, whatever it may be. Like I gotta dip into my savings, which I ended up doing. But then me working with the high schoolers actually made me kind of like humble myself. Because I mentor a lot of high schoolers that are seniors, so like they play a lot of basketball, football, volleyball, and their like senior year is just canceled. So I'm like, as a high schooler, if my year would have just been like screwed, I would have hated life. Like, I've been like, how am I going to go to college? I'm going to do this stuff. I'm like, I'm still like an established adult. So I was trying to lead by example to them. So I was like, everything's going to be okay. And then eventually it kind of just all snowballed back. So I was trying not to stress about it. Like, I was just like, I don't know when the clubs are going to go back up. And then everything slowly started to get back to where it is. So I'm still kind of like in it, but I'm slowly climbing out of it. So. Okay.
Now, before we end the interview, is there a positive message you want to give to the youth?
Yeah, I just say don't quit. Like, whatever you're doing, don't give up on it. I don't care if your mom, your dad, your aunt, your uncle, your teacher, if they're saying you can't do it, they're putting their limitations on you. Like, that's just life. People are going to put their fears into you. And like I said, if I can do what I'm doing now, you can really make anything possible. Like, young people are so much smarter than me, and kids are doing coding on computers and all this amazing stuff. So I'm like, the DJ thing is really easy. It's just like how you brand yourself. You got to go into everything confident. You have to be the most positive person in the room always. You can't let people see you lacking because they're going to take advantage of that. But yeah, just don't quit. Whatever you're going after, you can do it. I can promise you that.
And there you have it, y'all. Again, I want to thank you for being a part of this, man. I really, really appreciate it.
Always, bro. We family, bro.
Yeah, you already know. You already know. I'm going to see you, man.
Yes, sir.